Hello and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I am doing the second part of my January project life. This was filmed a couple of weeks ago now, so I'll do my best to remember everything that I am doing. So I started off by pulling out some stamps to make some embellishments to go with it. I was kind of doing a stash kitty type thing. I'd got some Studio Calico printables which I'm using for the whole of January, and so then I just made these embellishments, and I haven't shown you the whole process, but I basically stamped out loads of things and then onto sticker paper, and then have cut them out. I have a Cricut, and when you do the print and cut it leaves these margins, which is what I then use to stamp onto sticker paper, so that I get the use out of all the paper, and it's just a bit easier than trying to actually stick down all of the embellishments. So as you can see, I've gone for a pink and blue kind of colour scheme, and this whole side of this page is about my birthday celebrations. So I turned 22, and kind of the left hand side of the page is my family celebrating it, and then the right hand side of the page is celebrating with my boyfriend's family. So I'm just working on this card, and they kind of were both left very journally, so I didn't want to journal on this one. I thought I'd kind of do it as it's my birthday title page. So I've just used the Tombow Fudnoskie hard tip brush pen to write happy birthday, and I put my name and my age, and I'm just adding some of these stickers. So the top pile is these little word stickers that are from an LE Studio stamp. So are the labels, that's an L Studio stamp. Then the bottom pile are half circles that I got off AliExpress, but I then realised that they were probably an Ali Edwards product, and so I wouldn't recommend going and buying those sorts of stamps that are rip-offs of brands, but unfortunately I have ended up with a couple from ordering before I realised, before I could tell kind of what was stolen and what isn't. But so now I'm just going and I'm adding in some journaling to this card. So I've just put celebrations again with the same brush pen at the top, and then I'm using my Muji pen in 0.5 to just write out the journaling. So I have finished doing the journaling, and now I am just going through and I am just putting some of these label stickers onto the page. I think I'm just kind of playing about with how I cut them, and I'm just adding more journaling on. So the photos that I have are very busy. So the top right one and the bottom left one that I'm actually journaling on right now, I made in the Project Life app. So if you go into there, you can press make a small print, and then it gives you the option to basically make 6x4 collages. So I've just selected the one that has 6 images on the 6x4, and then that is the one that I have gone with. So they are 2x2 images and there's 6 on, and I quite often like doing that when there are quite a few smaller pictures that I'd want took throughout the day. So with the bottom left hand one, it's all the different games we played on the top row of it, and kind of all the things I actually did, because that was my actual birthday day. We got takeout, played games, very fun. And then the top right hand one, basically we couldn't do New Year's this year because I had COVID, and quite a lot of Kieran's family had COVID, and we always do New Year's with his family. So we kind of used my birthday as an excuse to do it later on in the month. So they wouldn't normally go so all out for my birthday, but I kind of wanted to include pictures like me getting Ick Forbidden the game, the card game that we always played, the birthday cake, a close-up of it. There were kind of things that I felt were important to include because it was a special night, but they don't necessarily need to be big photos. It's just kind of a visual representation of what we did that day. And yeah, I think it works quite well to just get in way more photos. So now I'm working on these pictures from when we went out to lunch. And again, I mean, I think this process video kind of proves how simple project life can be if you just go in with like a theme. So the whole month of January I've gone for this blue and pink colour theme, and I've been using these same Memento Dewdrop inks. They're the chalk ink ones. I can't remember exactly if that's what they're called, but they're the chalky ones. And I've just printed and cut loads of things and just kind of making the most of my stamps and getting to use them. And I think the stamps are really good for project life because they are quite often including smaller things and you can just reuse them. For example, those labels, I actually find it easier to stamp and cut out the labels than to use the Cricut, because I find that I need to, I think, just buy a printable lot of label stickers probably. But I wouldn't know how to even make those on the Cricut. I've got a couple of sheets that I found that I can just print and cut, but the labels are so spaced out, I just feel like it's wasting paper, and it prints out things like circle labels that I don't particularly use. I do just use these particular shapes a lot, so I just find that is so much easier for me to use the stamps. But yeah, this is just kind of showing how easy it can be to just use all of your labels and put everything together. So I think I was just looking on the back to find out what I used, because I'm kind of making January all look very similar. So I've just gone through and I'm getting out some little hearts that I've punched out. So with all of my paper scraps, I've just been collecting them up, and if they are kind of just a strip of paper, like border strips, I'm not going to keep them. I don't think I will use them, and I've just been actually punching them out with my little heart punch and putting them into these kind of sequin containers that I got off AliExpress, and I just find that way I can just use up these little scraps of paper, but I'm not hanging on to them. I just put them, and I'm just kind of have got a little section for each sort of colour. So I'm just using this ink pen, and it isn't actually working at the moment, so I'm spending some time faffing around, and I end up just getting the glue out instead. So I don't know if this is the glossy one, gel medium, or the matte gel medium, but that's just what I used. I don't particularly know why. I think I watched a video once and someone told me it was better for sticking non-paper things, like it has more of a strong hold, but I am pretty much just using it as I would PVA glue. Let me know down below in the comments if it is, I don't know, what you use as like a liquidy glue, because it probably would be better to get a small bottle and put the glue in, but I just haven't done that. So now I am going around and using my Dovecraft little, it's like the Nuvo Drops, but the Dovecraft one, because they're cheaper, and you can get them very easily here in the UK. So I just have the blue and the pink one. I'm starting to build up quite a nice little collection of these, but it's really funny because I can never remember what colours I have, and so yeah, I think it would be quite useful to film a craft kind of space video, just so that I can actually remind myself of what I have, and just jump to that part of the video, which I'm out shopping, just jump and see what I have in my drawer, because I actually find that quite useful. The last video on my channel is a flip through of my project life, and I actually find it really useful just to see what, if I'm looking at like what did I do on this particular layout, I can just go and look, and without having to pull out the whole album. So I quite like looking back at my videos to just kind of tell myself of the inventory of what I have and what I've done. I don't know, that might make me sound really weird, but I just find that quite interesting. So and useful. So now I have this 6x12 insert that is kind of separating. These are kind of like the rogue photos that didn't fit on. So the first project life was the first half of the month, then that's been my birthday celebrations, then these are just the things that were later on in the month that weren't birthday, or I went away for the weekend to Glasgow, and it was a long weekend. But that is the next video. I'll be scrapbooking that, and that'll be the final part of January. So this is just kind of the odd photos. Like one of them is me and Libby in York, and she's got a cinnamon bun, but that was on the Glasgow trip, but it didn't quite fit. I didn't quite have enough photos in because it isn't actually in Glasgow. I thought that it could be easily moved. and like the badminton photo was actually the very last day, the 31st of January, but it just didn't fit towards the end of the month, so I've just kind of put them all here. And I've mainly talked about how I had a couple of photos at the top that were to do with work or procrastinating from work and playing with the cat. So and then that journaling card, I've just talked about how actually most of the month was spent doing coursework. So while I have all these great memories, it's probably more representative to look back at the month and just remember that I did a lot of coursework, and that was what I spent most of my time in January doing. So now I'm just faffing around. I think when I cut out these, I don't have the right size punch to cut out those semicircles to be the like actual size they are, so I'm just using mine and kind of just to smooth off the edge a bit, because I didn't really like how it was looking, but because I'd already cut it out, it was really hard to get it to sit in the right position. So if you are planning on doing this, I would highly recommend not cutting it out first. I think I also was kind of trying to make them a bit less, I want them to be a bit smaller so that I could add them, because they were kind of overtaking when I put them on as at the size that they were. So here again, I've done the same. Like I said, what I do, I punch it into hearts. I also punch into stars, but I don't tend to use the stars as much. So I think I will be doing hearts in a range of colours and then stars in more colours that I use. I need to actually go back, and I did this with sparkly paper, and I haven't been using that. And glitter cardstock, and I really like how that looks. So that's reminded me, that's the reason I think I'd want to do a craft like tour, or like how I store different things, just because then it would I could watch it and remind myself of all the different things that I have in my craft room without having to go and dig through everything. Anyway, I don't have a neat craft solution for anything at the moment, and I've been changing everything a lot recently, so I won't be filming that video anytime soon, but hopefully I'll do that in the future. So we're coming towards the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, because it would mean a lot to me. And please comment down below what your favourite project life supply is, because I find it very interesting. This video I've done a lot of stamping, but I don't often do that, so it's interesting to hear what everyone loves. These are probably one of my favourite things. They're just these kind of pearl but like pastel-y coloured, almost like enamel drops, but not, just like gems, that I got from the range, and I really want to find them again, that smaller size. I managed to find them in a bigger size more recently, but I can't find that smaller size again. So, you know, I mean, I probably could order them online, but I prefer to go into person. So I'm just going to add as a final thing some gold splatters, and that is everything. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.